Hello everyone. Welcome back to Jikook Magic. The BTS concert in Stanford truly sent the fandom into chaos, especially because Jungkook kept being seen paying attention to Jimin throughout the entire concert. From small glances, spontaneous reactions, to their natural chemistry, everything felt incredibly sweet and impossible to ignore. But behind all those warm moments, a huge controversy also emerged after a concert livestream went viral for allegedly avoiding showing Jimin on screen. So what exactly happened in Stanford? And why do so many people feel that this concert was filled with unforgettable Jikook moments? Let's talk about everything in today's video. The BTS concert in Stanford, both on the first and second day, felt like confirmation of something many people had already noticed for a long time. Jungkook truly always pays attention to Jimin. Without needing exaggerated narratives or forced interpretations, Jungkook's behavior throughout the concert already explained everything. The way his eyes kept searching for Jimin in the middle of the massive stadium crowd, his reactions every time Jimin spoke, and the comfortable expression that appeared whenever he was near him made it difficult for many people to ignore those small moments. Since the very first day of the concert, public attention was immediately drawn to Jungkook's decision to sit beside Jimin, even though the original seating arrangement appeared different. No one asked him to do that, yet he still chose to stay by Jimin's side. Small things like that often feel the most honest because they happen naturally. From the beginning of the concert, the atmosphere between them already felt warm and relaxed, like two people who are always comfortable being around each other. Again and again, Jungkook was seen looking at Jimin in the middle of thousands of fans and the grandeur of Stanford Stadium. Even while so many things were happening around them, Jungkook's focus always seemed to return to the same person. The way he looked at Jimin felt soft, calm, and full of attention. The smile that appeared on his face also looked completely natural, not a formal smile for the cameras, but the kind of expression that appears unconsciously when someone feels comfortable. Many fans felt that their interactions seemed the most genuine precisely because there was no obvious attempt to attract attention. Just through brief glances, small smiles, or simple body language, their chemistry already felt incredibly strong. Even when other members were speaking or the concert atmosphere became chaotic, Jungkook still seemed to automatically turn toward Jimin several times, as if he always wanted to know what Jimin was doing or saying. One of the details fans talked about the most was how Jungkook immediately gave his full attention every time Jimin spoke. He genuinely looked like he was listening, not just briefly glancing over. There was a feeling that Jungkook didn't want to miss even the smallest detail about Jimin. It's moments like these that make their bond feel special to many people, because that kind of attention is difficult to fake. During the second day soundcheck in Stanford, Jimin looked absolutely radiant under the California sky. He wore an all-black outfit that made his aura feel effortless, elegant, and incredibly captivating. But what caught many people's attention was a small detail that felt almost poetic. Both Jimin's and Jungkook's necklaces rested right against their chests and even touched when they stood close together. It was just a simple detail, but many fans felt the moment seemed symbolic, as if distance between them never lasted very long. Throughout the concert, Jungkook was also seen unconsciously mirroring Jimin's movements several times. It never looked forced or exaggerated. Everything felt spontaneous and natural, like a reflex that had already become a habit. They moved in the same rhythm without needing to think about it. From the way they stood, their small gestures, to their facial expressions, the two of them looked incredibly in sync. One of the moments that worried fans the most happened when Jungkook tried to imitate Jimin's backflip and appeared to slightly injure his back. Jimin's reaction was immediately filled with guilt. He looked worried and kept apologizing to Jungkook. But Jungkook calmly responded that he did it because he genuinely wanted to try it himself. That small interaction felt incredibly sincere and sweet because it showed the care and comfort between them. Besides that, Jungkook was also seen giving Jimin small glances that lasted slightly longer than usual. Those looks felt full of softness and admiration that was difficult to hide. Many fans felt that Jungkook looked the most relaxed whenever he was around Jimin. There was a very natural comfort between them, something that remained visible even without any major interactions. Even during moments when they were not sitting side by side, their chemistry still felt extremely strong. They looked relaxed, playful, full of jokes, and constantly touched each other naturally without it seeming staged for the cameras. There was no excessive effort to prove anything to the audience. They simply enjoyed being together as usual, even in the middle of a stadium as huge as Stanford with tens of thousands of people watching their every move. The second day of the BTS concert in Stanford ultimately felt filled with tiny yet meaningful details. Soft touches, mirrored movements, warm gazes, and simple moments capable of saying so much without words. They were simply being themselves, happy, connected, and deeply in sync, and fans felt lucky to witness all those moments directly. However, amid all those warm moments, one concert livestream sparked major controversy within the fandom. At first, it may have seemed like something small that only a few people noticed. But as the concert continued, the pattern in the livestream became increasingly obvious. Every time Jimin appeared on the stadium's big screen, a woman doing the livestream would suddenly lower the camera, move her phone away, or stop filming the screen altogether. At first, many people tried to think positively. Maybe she was adjusting her position, maybe someone blocked her view, or maybe she was just trying to find a better angle. But the problem was that the same thing kept happening repeatedly. It wasn't just once or twice where it could still be considered a coincidence. Whenever other members appeared, the camera would stabilize again and the live stream continued normally. But as soon as it was Jimin's turn, the camera would lower or move away again. That's why the comment section quickly filled with questions. Many viewers were confused, while others started realizing that the behavior seemed intentional. When people later found out that the woman was a Taekooker, for some fans everything started making more sense. Within the fandom itself, there have long been discussions about a small portion of Taekookers showing hostile behavior toward Jimin. Of course, it would be unfair to generalize all Taekookers as toxic because many still respect all BTS members. However, pretending that aggressive groups targeting Jimin do not exist would also be dishonest. For years, social media has been filled with accounts that seem more focused on attacking Jimin than supporting their own favorite idols. The hatred is often disguised through jokes, absurd theories, sarcasm, or small actions like what happened during that live stream. Logically speaking, there is no reason to deliberately avoid showing Jimin while live streaming a BTS concert. If someone chooses to publicly live stream a concert, the purpose should be sharing the full experience, not deciding which member is worthy of being shown and who should be hidden. What frustrated many fans even more was the fact that the account actually gained more followers after the video went viral. Instead of facing major criticism, the account became even more popular and received higher engagement. Situations like this are exactly why many Jimin fans feel exhausted, because the same pattern keeps repeating in the fandom. Someone does something offensive toward Jimin, the issue gets minimized or ignored, the person gains attention, and everything moves on as if nothing happened. Another example that disgusted many people was when a woman visited Jimin's father's cafe while leaving AI-generated photos and offensive comments behind. That was no longer just internet drama. Someone physically went to a place connected to Jimin's family simply to provoke them directly. Something like that should have caused massive outrage within the fandom. There should have been mass reporting, widespread support, and the same level of protection given when other members receive threats or harassment. But in reality, the issue slowly disappeared. Many large accounts only mentioned it briefly, while some stayed completely silent. Ironically, the perpetrator once again gained followers and attention. This is what many Jimin fans have pointed out for years. The fandom's response often depends on who the target is. When something happens to another member, especially Kim Taeyoung, the fandom usually reacts very quickly. Long threads are made, reporting campaigns happen immediately, and supportive messages spread everywhere. And of course, there is nothing wrong with that because every BTS member deserves full protection. But the question remains, why does that same energy often disappear when the one being attacked is Jimin? The contrast feels too obvious to ignore. Whenever Jimin is insulted, harassed, or humiliated, the responses often become, all members receive hate, don't exaggerate it, or just ignore it. At a certain point, responses like that no longer feel neutral. They begin to look like indifference toward what Jimin has continuously experienced for years. It is true that all BTS members have received hate at some point. But many people have also realized that not every member receives the same level of empathy and protection from the fandom. When Jimin becomes the target, there often seems to be less urgency, less empathy, and less willingness to take action. Many Jimin fans feel exhausted seeing cruel comments toward him normalized, anti-Jimin accounts still welcomed within fandom spaces, and insults toward him constantly dismissed as just jokes or opinions. In many cases, things have already crossed the line into harassment, obsession, and inhumane behavior toward someone who is simply doing his job as an idol. In the end, what many fans want is actually very simple: fair treatment. If all BTS members are loved and respected as one group, then all members should also receive equal protection, empathy, and support whenever they are attacked. No matter what ship someone likes, it should never become a reason to hate, belittle, or erase another member's existence. Amid all the controversy, the Stanford concert actually showed something completely different. While some people were busy creating theories, spreading hatred, or trying to separate them through fandom narratives, Jungkook and Jimin looked more comfortable with each other than ever. There was no awkward distance, no attempts to avoid one another, and no signs that they were burdened by the wild narratives circulating online. What people saw were simply two individuals constantly paying attention to each other, laughing together, sharing small moments, and enjoying their time comfortably. Maybe that is why so many people were touched by their interactions in Stanford, because everything felt so simple yet sincere. There was no need for huge gestures or excessive fan service. Just through the way Jungkook looked at Jimin, the way they stood close together, unconsciously touched each other, or how their attention always returned to one another, everything already spoke volumes about the warm connection between them. And perhaps because all of it looked so natural, many people feel that the moments from Stanford will be remembered for a very long time. In the end, the Stanford concert felt like proof of how natural and warm Jungkook and Jimin's relationship is. Without needing many words or excessive fan service, their chemistry was already obvious through those small and sincere moments. If you have a favorite moment from the Stanford concert, don't forget to share it in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any more Jikook updates from Jikook Magic. See you in the next video.